and help me warmly welcome the cast and creators of The Walking Dead, starting with the newly appointed showrunner and executive producer, Angela Kang. Can I get an Angela Kang, please? Angela, come on up. All right, executive producer Scott Gimple, can you please come on up? Do we have Mr. Andrew Lincoln in the house? He's in the bathroom. All right, well, let's get Danai up here. Danai? Norman Reedus, everybody. Norman, please come on up. Lauren Cohan. Jeffrey. Executive producer Gale Anne Hurd. And finally, executive producer, director, and the man behind the lovable zombies, Mr. Greg Nicotero. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I will hand it over to the floor and open it up for the first question.
Yeah, I mean, it has been an amazing experience to be able to play both Michonne and Okoye. It is a time where I think we are starting to see more women-driven narratives that happen in a lot of different ways, and that's a very exciting thing. You know, it is about time, and it's exciting. And you know, I think that the odd thing is that there's obviously such a great response when you see so many different things happening, like Captain Marvel coming out, being a female character, and all sorts of different ways that women start to tell stories. So it's exciting that response is happening. It's amazing how long it seems to take, but I'm just thankful that I've been able to work with people who have created roles like Michonne and Okoye, and allowed me to contribute and to collaborate and create accordingly. And the amazing thing is that, when you put out strong female characters or characters that are multidimensional and generally underrepresented, the shocking thing is the response is so amazing. You wonder why we didn't do it a ton time earlier, And that's what's happened a lot, and it's been very amazing to be a part of and to see the responses that have happened to several female characters that have come out in the last several years. So the point is we keep going in that direction, because obviously it's something people want, and we need it as a society. Thank you.
Next question.
Hi, my name is Amanda from Proximity Brazil. I want to know how do the news that Andrew is leaving, and how will you survive without your romance?
Me.
Oh, of course.
Well, Andy's my best friend, so I'm just going to leave it there and get deeper into that later. I don't like the fact that he likes to toilet paper my new car. Kind of pissed me off. It was not great. Danai, it was not great.
Well, the thing is, he did a thing, and Norman's been doing some incredible acting, as everybody this year, but he did, on this particular day, he did amazing emotional acting. And at one point he just said, I smiled and then cried through my smiling. And I said, what is that? He said, it's called a smile cry. It's never been done before. And I said, Norman, this is an extraordinary, momentous event that needs to be noted. And so there's lovely Landon who runs the set. I paid him quite a considerable amount of money to wrap his car in toilet paper. Because he smiled. What is it? Cry smile.
I cried.
A cry. It's never been done before. It may not be done since.
Broke new ground.
Thank you. As we have the executive producers on there, what are you able to tease about the upcoming season? Is there a time jump? Is there anything, or can you talk about the tone or any of the arcs that fans can look forward to this season?
Yeah, we are starting a new chapter of the story, which is really exciting for us.
We are starting with a time jump, and we're playing a time season. So that gives us the opportunity to see where our characters are at after the war has ended with the chapter that was preceding All Out War. And we get to see the world in a way that we've never seen it on the show before. We're seeing that nature's taking over. We see that man-made structures are falling down, and that provides challenges to our group. And we see how intrepid they are and how clever they are in challenges, as well as all the interpersonal relationships they have with each other. We're dealing with themes about civilization and how do you build a civilization? How do you look to the past to build the future? How do you, deal with the differences in philosophy? And what are the things that we owe to each other as people? So those are some of the themes that we're playing with, and we're seeing a lot of our core characters, many of whom are on this stage, like really interacting with each other in deep ways, because these are relationships that the audience has invested in for many, many years, and we really love writing for them, and they're doing amazing work. So I can't wait for everybody to see the season. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Mari from Norway. I was just wondering, here at Comic-Con, when you meet the fans, I mean, obviously there's a lot of fandom and it's very connected to The Walking Dead, and I was wondering, what is the best part and what is the worst part of a humongous fandom connected with the show?
I don't think there's a worst part. I think there's definitely just the understanding what the show means, and not because it's the show, but understanding common passion and feeling people's love for, I mean, we've all been together for 8, I've been 8, it's been a 9 collective. I think creating something that has, across the entire globe, affected people and connected people. And I'm really putting this into words well, but I think it's just sort of it's a joy. It's a joy to have people care so much and be so moved by the stories that we've had the chance to tell. What do you think?
I think that Comic-Cons are people. You just love The Walking Dead, and so it's really fun to kind of get here and be able to talk about the show that we love, obviously, and have the response that we get, the people that love the show as much as we do. And it's very kind of, Comic-Con's always been a very special place.
Yeah, they just
Go ahead,
remember-
Greg, cut me off.
He was done. See, I knew you were done. I learned that. Listen, the greatest thing is we all have something we love. You know, everybody in this room, everybody in this town, everyone in the world. You're a fan of something, and you know, I've met a lot of people that I admired, and you just want to say thanks. That's really the bottom line. Somebody comes up to you and asks for a picture. That's their way of saying thank you for what you do. You know, this team of actors and these producers and writers, you know, I'm in awe of them because after the number of years that the show's been on the air, the amount of effort it takes. This is not an easy show to make. It's a tremendously challenging show. It never gets easier. There's never an episode where everyone goes, okay, this is going to be an easy episode. It's just going to be 2 people in a room talk. We never do that. It'll be 2 people in a room with 1,000 zombies and the room's upside down and it's on fire and this guy's doing that. It's a tremendously complicated show. And if every single person on this panel didn't show up with that same level of commitment and passion, and that's what the fans see. The fans see it in everybody's performances and everybody's contribution to the show. So when they want to walk up to you and say, thanks for doing The Walking Dead, thanks for being a part of something that we love, that's really, to me, that's the greatest part of what we do, is having people recognize that we really are working hard to give you guys something new and something exciting. And with Angela, you know, I mean, the cast is so excited about the story and the direction that we're going. You know, we've talked a lot about the fact that, you know, we're giving the fans the Walking Dead show they fell in love with so many years ago. We get to see scenes with Michonne and Maggie. We get to see scenes with Carol and Daryl. We get to see scenes with Rick and Daryl. The guys that have chemistry, the people that we fell in love with, you're going to get a lot more of those pairings and a lot more of that kind of storytelling, and can't wait.
And I will say
Is that okay that I interrupted you?
No, I was gonna say, you said it so much better.
My answer was so much better than his anyway.
And I will say that real life interactions almost universally tend to be nicer than internet interactions. And in fact, those internet interactions make you afraid of the real life interactions, and then you have them and you're like, oh damn, people are so nice.
Good morning. Right, yeah, for the cast members, you all look good this morning, fresh or shaved, makeup and everything. How many times have you asked the showrunners or the writers if there could be one episode with a big ball where you could all look the nicest instead of looking dirty and, sweating? Lauren? Oh, Jeffrey, yeah, sure. Okay. Why not?
I think a big ball would be fabulous.
Don't try my French, please. What about for you, Lauren, or for the girls?
I hope to see Negan in a ball dress. All gown.
I think we had a flashback with you. We got to see you.
Yeah, I got a little
Yeah.
It's a little cute.
Yeah, you got a lot
About
cute.
4 hours.
And we had, well, I think when we first got to Alexandria, we all were slightly gussied up, but honestly, you just get rid of it. You don't, that's the pleasure of the show, is like really being in the elements and not needing to worry about it. Yeah.
Honestly, like I'll say that most of the time, the actors are like, can I have more dirt? What if I like fuck up my hair, put some blood in there? Like, can my clothes be more tattered? So this cast doesn't care about being glamorous. Like they're glamorous here, but they're into the dirt and the sweat and the grossness.
Merci, thank you.
Congratulations on the World Cup.
Hi, I'm Paul from The Walking Dead Brazil.
I saw your post this morning.
Thank you. My question is for Jeffrey. After Negan's episode with Greg, can we expect to see a new version of him, or he's just going to be back to the old version that we all love?
Oh, you loved him?
Yeah, of course. Who doesn't?
I think that Negan's going through a little bit of a change this year, but, down deep, I don't think he's going to stray too far from who he is. But we'll see. I think all the characters are going through some changes this year. Negan is in that category. We'll start the season in a position that we've never seen Negan before, and he's going to have to learn to deal with it, and it might take him a second.
Thank you.
And then you're going to love him.
Even more.
Yeah, more.
It's a question for the showrunner and the writers. I mean, with such a large cast, so many terrific actors, is it ever difficult to make sure that you're giving everyone their due and that you're finding time to develop all of the characters and give them significant screen time?
We really care about having stories for all of our characters. We always try to give people great material, and our cast is amazing across the board. They all work so hard and they're so talented. But with every season, it's what we found is there are seasons where certain characters really come to the forefront, and then that might change the following year. And so this is no different from that. We do have a lot of material for kind of some of the characters who've really been on the show for a long time. It sort of fits with the storytelling of this particular season. But that said, there will still be great moments for all of our characters. Like every one of them you'll see in the trailer during our panel, and I think there's some really fun stuff coming up for everyone. But yeah, it's having a large cast, it's different, but it's also fun because you get to tell a lot of stories with the ensemble, which is so great.
Hi, Danielle from Holland. Question for Andrew, just following up on the fandom question earlier. Coming into Comic-Con after the news has been confirmed of your exit, how do you brace yourself for what fans are going to say? Do you have any ideas about what your general response
I thought everybody was worried about my new haircut.
Yeah, also that will be my
That
second
would be
question.
second question. You know, this is, I don't want this to turn into either an Oscar acceptance speech or an obituary. This has been, there is nothing but gratitude that I feel for this whole experience and love for this bunch of people on stage and everywhere back in Atlanta, Georgia. It's changed my life in so many, in a myriad of different ways. And I remember the first time we came to Comic-Con, which was 9 years ago, my knees went when I heard the audience respond to the trailer. This is the belly of the beast, one way you look at it, or it's just the greatest love cuddle that you're ever going to get, because it's a direct reaction from the people that love the show just as much as you do, and the reason why we make it, and the reason why we're here 9 years in. I'm not going to talk about it yet. I can keep talking, but I'm not going to talk about it until I see the fans, I see the whites of the fans' eyes. Because I think it's, if they're the people that I want to talk to first, with respect. Thank you.
Where did you get that haircut?
The haircut is fabulous.
I come in, you know, that's what I just said.
Hi, you guys, greetings from Mexico. In the final episode of the last season, we saw Daryl and Maggie like doing the glimpse of a revolution against Rick and all the Negan stuff. Are we gonna develop? Are we gonna see more about that? And also, what other characters are gonna come back, like Jadis, for example?
Yeah, we'll definitely see some great stuff with Daryl and Maggie. Daryl made a promise to Maggie, and Maggie made a promise herself, and these are people who tend to be people of their word, and we'll see how that story plays out. And I'm sorry, what was the next?
Yeah, another character that are coming back, like Jadis.
Oh yeah, we will definitely see some Jadis.
My question is for Andrew and Lauren. At the end of last season, just saying Maggie and Rick weren't exactly in the best place. What does that mean for Maggie and Rick going into what's going to be Rick's final?
Yeah. Spoiler alert TV. No, we have, what we're actually going to see this year, which is exciting. We Angela talked about getting a little bit more time with some of us on screen, and actually specifically more time with some of us who haven't interacted as much in the past couple of years. And Andy and I definitely get to do a lot of acting together this year, and it's obviously for us is amazing, but for the characters it's really interesting because Maggie and Rick are sort of on different sides of the coin as to how to proceed with things, but coming together and trying to find a way through this and a way to respectfully evolve as a civilization. And, you know, Daryl and Maggie feel the same way, and so there is disagreement in the camp, but you'll see with the time jump how things have evolved, and it's just it's a greater conversation about one philosophy versus another. But I think the greatest takeaway for me is seeing us have the conversations. It's not so much that we feel differently, it's that we get to see all of us together having these really really deep conversations about the why of each of our viewpoints. So, really good.
For the showrunners, obviously this is an iconic season for Rick. I know Andrew doesn't want to talk much, but how much did his decision affect the trajectory of this season, and how much of this season will focus on his character? Can you just talk about?
That's the episode with the ball gowns, I think.
Gowns episode. Yeah, you know, respectfully, like I think we're kind of all in the same place where we want to
really talk to the fans directly. But I'll say that Rick has a really cool story this season. I think Andy is doing. I mean, they're always amazing, but it's just I think he's doing such incredible work alongside this cast. So we're telling a story about how where he's at after the just incredible soul-crushing loss of his son Carl, his really surprising decision to save Negan at the end of the war, and what are the after effects of that and how you build from that. And I think you'll really see Rick step up as a leader. You see him just the incredible goodness that he has inside shining through as he's really trying to deal with people who are, as Lauren was saying, philosophically in a different place sometimes, but it's all out of love. These are people that love and care about each other deeply, and so we really wanted to dive into the complexities of that. And when you have people who are family to each other, how you work through differences in opinion about like how you govern or how you build for the future, how you continue on after something as traumatic as a war.
I will say, I'd love to just say that Angela and the writing staff this season have been amazing, and there's a collaboration and a freedom and a sort of excitement, I think I can speak for everybody on set and around the camera, that is so good and so energized. And I do think that there are 2 episodes that are two possibly my favorites since the pilot in this season alone. And it has been, I think, Angela, I just want to give a huge compliment, because I think she has led this season incredibly lightly and collaboratively and with great sort of verve. And I'd like to just say thank you very much on behalf of everybody else.
Thank you. Pleasure working with you all. I love you all so much.
Hi, Emmanuel from France. After all these years, what is this show truly about for you? And do you think it makes any social commentaries about what's going on in the world? Do you get influenced by that in terms of the writing as well?
This is especially for you, Norman, this question. You love deep philosophical ponderings.
The show, I've said it before, but you always feel like you have more time with people, and it's how you spend your moments. And especially the show going on almost a decade, the relationships that the cast have with each other are all real relationships. So you can use those in your scenes, and there's an extra layer of depth to everything. So, when we fight, we love each other and fight the way the family love each other and fight. Even if that involves punching each other in the face. Andrew Lincoln, a couple of times. It was a double punch to the chin. We have it on camera. But, everything is really deep-rooted on the show. And we're not out here, we're not in Los Angeles, we're out in the woods in Georgia by ourselves. And we hang out with each other on set, off set. We all know each other's families. We all, it's our first call in the morning and our last call at night. So everything in this show feels really real to us. The commentary on, what's happening in the world today, it's pretty fucked up. I can say that, I guess. And our world's fucked up, but you have to, we are stronger as a group, and it's the same out there as it was in our show. So there is that, and I smile crack as shit. Does that make sense? My caffeine just kicked in.
Pink hat, please, pink hat.
Hello, Adam from Germany here, and Angela alluded already to the time jump, and I was wanting to ask the actors, what do you want to see after the time jump? Like, for example, I would love to see a katana killing squad led by Michonne, or a crossbow training facility by Daryl.
I mean, you just stated your vision, so I mean, like, Angela can do it, I guess. I don't know what else there is to say. That's what our marching order is saying. You know, I think it's a great, first I just love to say, I'd like to reiterate what Andrew said so eloquently about the astounding work that Andrew's doing and the really cool collaboration experience we're having with the story as an arc, as a whole, and in the micro moments, all of it, and how we've been able to collaborate with her and the writers is really, really exciting and really thrilling, quite honestly. And so yeah, the time jump was such an interesting and cool and awesome thing to experience, really, because you know last season was it was all out war, and so it was very much about a specific moment that we had to see through, because it was dealing with this guy and this sweetheart, and we had to really go through that moment, and so it was the whole season was how many days? It was like 3-4 days. So it was it was very interesting. What was it? We maybe a week, 5 days, 1.5. So
turning into an
so to step forward a bit was very refreshing, and so we can't tell you exactly what goes down, but we can say that it's very cool to sort of feel time having moved, things having shifted, adjustments having been made to how we function, how we figured out how to function, and where our relationships now lie, because there are things that have happened that we catch up to in the moment when we go forward. So it's cool, and there are ways that the world regresses, as was mentioned, which is very interesting. It has to regress, right? It has to degrade as we move forward because we haven't figured out how to go back to modern times. So we're kind of getting almost medieval or middle-aged at the same time as we go forward in yeah, what I mean. But we're kind of, this sort of reversal movement of time going forward and back at the same time, which I find really kind of awesome. Get really friendly with horses in the sense that I've never ridden horses, so I'm learning, and you have to do it. We all have to learn and do it well, and it's cool because that's what they would have to do. They would have to learn how to do things the way folks used to do them. There's no gas station. So there's no cute. What was it? Camaro? The cute car that got come to. Yeah, no bitchin' Camaros. So
We have time
horse.
for a few more questions. Pink hat.
Hi, Callista Best, Kids First, and I don't think I'm speaking just for myself when I say that these last few seasons have been very stressful, especially on myself. I don't think I have actually cried that much for any show aside from one. So, no, I literally screamed at the TV in a fit of sadness. It was depressing, but I love the writing of the show. But some of my favorite moments in the show were like little character moments that were kind of more on the adorable, funny side. Like an example was the scene with Michonne and Carl when she had the crazy cheese. I don't know why, but that's burned in my memory. So can we please have more of those, because I don't think I can handle another all-out war.
Can we know the other show that you cried
My
about?
Hero Academia. Anime.
I would say that the chances of Danai doing that with cheese again are very low. But there are warm moments, there are funny moments. In many ways, this is a brand new show, but the relationship with these actors, that warmth comes through, and I guess those little pieces of relief need to be part of a show that puts you through the ringer. And I would like to apologize to you personally.
It's kind of ironic because I was here in 2016 and I remember saying that Negan's probably going to kill my favorite character.
Did I?
Yes, you did. And no! Don't be proud of yourself! You kept running.
You were the relief we needed.
Hi, I'm here from Israel. 8 years ago, I think there was a kind of an outbreak of zombies in Hollywood. So many films, so many series. But I think that we can formally say that the zombies died in Hollywood. Now they're trying to figure out how to deal with the genre. But it seems that your series is kind of in a way a portrayal of the evolution of the zombies genre. So from your perspective, how did you deal with the decline of the genre? How did you try to be original, keep it like new and fresh?
Sounds like a Greg question.
Correct. It's interesting. I would slightly disagree with that assessment. I mean, I feel like the zombie genre was reinvigorated when video games hit the market. When you had first-person shooter games and people could actually shoot zombies. This was like 1998, 99, 2000 with Resident Evil and House of the Dead. And then it was 28 Days Later. So I feel like the zombie genre really, you were right, it wasn't my question, thank you. But it definitely took off. I mean, Shaun of the Dead came out, the Dawn of the Dead remake, Zombieland, Romero's Land of the Dead, it was sort of building. And when we started talking about Walking Dead back in the day with Frank Darabont and Gale and I, the thing that drew Frank to the material was the ensemble, telling a story over and over again. No one's ever been able to tell a story longer than 2 hours. If we would have had to tell The Walking Dead in a 2-hour window, it would have never worked. You would have never got to know Carol, you would have never not got to know Daryl, you would have never fallen in love with these guys. But we've had, I don't know, where are we at, 135 hours or so? The story continues, and by this story being able to continue, it allows you to fall in and out of love with these characters. So, to me, I feel like when The Walking Dead hit, that opened the world to embrace shows like American Horror Story and Game of Thrones because it was a genre show that people gravitated to. So I'm very proud of what we did and what this team did because I feel like we were one of the first shows that really opened it up to allow people to accept genre material into their homes and embrace it. And I think we're continuing to do that, and yeah.
And that's also why a real shout out, not only to AMC, but to Fox as well, who were there from the beginning and rolled the dice and made sure we had 6 episodes the first season and didn't try to judge the show on the pilot. So I think we can't forget how difficult a roll of the dice it was way back then, and we appreciate that they did that 9 years ago to this day.
Thank you. And I actually have one final question. This one is for Gale that was submitted by media that couldn't be here. And I'd love for you to speak a little bit. You've been such a fantastic ambassador of the show internationally, as have all of you. Why do you think the series continues to resonate so profoundly with audiences worldwide?
I think what our characters experience is universal. It is about love and loss and survival, and the fact that the way to achieve success is by finding common ground. And that is a message that resonates now more than ever. Let's find the things on which we can agree. Regardless of how dark the world may seem, personally and on a global scale, we can find hope and we can survive. And I think that message resonates now more than ever.
Thank you, everybody. These guys they have a busy day, so we're going to wrap it here. If I can ask all of you to please stay seated as our panel departs. If we can get a big round of applause and wish them luck for the rest of the day. Thank you, everybody.